Good evening, everyone. We will call to order this meeting of the West Palm Beach City Commission. Today is July 21st, 2025, and the time is 5 p.m. We will start this meeting off as we do all of our meetings with a moment of silence. A moment of silence, please. Madam President, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I will go over the rules of civility and decorum which govern this body. Officials shall be recognized by the chair and shall not interrupt the speaker. Public comment shall be addressed by the City Commission as a whole and not to any individual in the dais and the audience. Displays of anger, rudeness, ridicule, impatience, lack of respect, and personal attacks are strictly prohibited. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, and similar demonstrations should not be permitted. Please govern yourselves accordingly, as offenders may be removed from the meeting. Also, anyone looking to address this body shall complete a comment card for each agenda item the person wishes to address, and that card shall include the person's full name, address, and the numbered agenda item. The person will not be recognized if the comment card is not completed. Thank you. Ms. Johnson, are there any additions, deletions, reorganization of the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor, but I would like to note that the presentation is going to be a joint presentation by Representative Edmonds and by Senator Mike Bernard.
Okay, very good. We do see Senator Bernard here.
The representative is here as well.
And the representative is here as well. All right. We'll now move to a legislative update by the Honorable Javante Edmonds, Florida State Representative, and the Honorable Mac Bernard, our State Senator. It's a joint presentation. All right, we're going to do one at a time, even though it's a joint presentation. Okay, very good.
Yes, good evening. Thank you so much for having us today, Mayor, Commission, City Attorney, City Administrator. It's an honor to be here. I got to tell you, when I'm in Tallahassee, I do brag about representing West Palm Beach. I think we have one of the best leadership in the state, in the country. So thank you for allowing me to bring some updates on what happened in Tallahassee. So as you all know, I represent House District 88, which encompasses Lake Park, Riviera Beach, West Palm Beach, Mangonia Park, and Royal Palm Beach. Typically, when we go to session, it is supposed to last for 60 days. In this particular year, this session lasts 105 days. In most part due to our tax package, and I'll talk a little bit about that, and I know the Senator will also elaborate on it as well. During session, we usually see over 2,000 pieces of legislation and 2,000 appropriation. Legislation can range from a page to over 600 pages, all depends on what that particular topic is. In the Florida House, we have 120 members. That body is made up of 87 Republican and 32 Democrats. As you all know, we did lose an amazing representative, Representative Casello, so that does bring our number down by one. And also we lost just a phenomenal leader as well. Members of the House are all assigned into committees. I'm proud to be the ranking member of the Health Professions and Programs Subcommittee, so anything related to healthcare does come through that silo. This year, we were unfortunate. We didn't pass any substantial legislation, but all of my legislation is focused on housing and education. One of the big bills that almost got across the finish line was allowing renters to use a universal credit report so they're not hit with multiple charges across each application. That didn't make it to the last day of session, but we're going to bring it back next session as well. Of course, along with passing good bills, fighting the bad bills, we're responsible for bringing money home to our districts. We did get a lot of money into the budget. Unfortunately, not every project survived the veto pen. That does include the project, the Digital Twin for Public Safety. That was going to be slated for the city of West Palm Beach. Unfortunately, it didn't make it, but that's going to be one of our top priorities. Me and Senator Bernard did carry that project, and we look forward to doing it again next section. So let's talk about the important items. So we passed a record-breaking budget of $117 billion. You all, just to put that in perspective, if we broke Florida out to a country, Florida would be the 15th largest economic engine in the world. So we have the capacity to do almost anything here in the state of Florida, bringing in trillions of dollars in GDP. We allocated $47 billion to healthcare. That was the only silo that did not decrease this particular year. And interestingly enough, we allocated almost $4 billion to school choice and private school scholarships, breaking records here in the country. We put about $15 billion away in reserves. That is a record-breaking amount. We're trying to make sure that we're ready for any type of disaster that may occur here as we are a peninsula, but we are doing our due diligence to make sure that we have the funding available if it occurred. So that 45 days that kept us in Tallahassee was all around this tax package. So just to keep it simple, in the House, our budget came up as $113 billion. In the Senate, it was $117 billion. The governor said $115. At the end of the day, we met in the middle at $115 billion. Due to the vetoes, it did bring the budget to $117 billion. So the simple ideology was that in the House, we wanted to reduce the sales tax from 6% to 5.25. In the Senate, they wanted to do a tax break for any clothing and shoes under $75 and also remove the business tax. Again, we met in the middle, and we did end up doing away with the business tax. So that is going to be a big victory for those who own and lease commercial property, and also hopefully it passes relief to those who may be renting out from that leaser. That is going to be a progressive reduction of a tax. So in January 2026, the tax will be from 2% to 1%. In January 2027, that tax will be done away with. Now, that is great for business owners, but we also have to keep in mind that will be lost revenue for the state of Florida. We are going to have to find a way to make up that potential deficit. As you all know, we have a huge retirement population here in the state of Florida. We're going to see the largest retirement boom in 2030. Most of those baby boomers are going to be retiring, and that's going to be, again, lost of revenue from the state of Florida. So we have to be mindful of the actions that we're taking here in Tallahassee. Good news for law enforcement and firefighters. They will receive a 10% increase. If they've been working for 5 or more years, it will be 15%. And state employees will also receive a 2% increase as well. So the topic that everyone cares about the most, insurance. Unfortunately, nothing was done in Tallahassee this particular year. There was proposals laid down such as, if there is a hurricane, an insurance company cannot drop you within those 30 days of that hurricane. There was also proposals about doing a win-win situation when we're going to litigation against insurance companies. Again, all those great proposals did not go through, but again, there are some substantive ideas that we're still fighting for. The program that everyone should take advantage of if they're a homeowner is the My Safe Florida Home Program. The My Safe Florida Home Program. That is a $10,000 grant to fix up your roof, your windows, your doors, your garage, to make sure that you're ready for any type of natural disaster, and hopefully it will reduce your insurance costs. But that is the My Safe Florida program. It should be released August 4th. The twin program, the My Safe Florida Condo Pilot Program, started July 1st. That is $275,000 for a condo association to do those same types of repairs. So when it comes to first-time home buyers program, we did fund the Hometown Heroes program once again, and of course we have great initiatives through the SHIP program for first-time home buyers. As you all have heard, there has been talks about doing away with property tax. I was lucky and honored enough to be put on the committee for property tax relief in Tallahassee, and so those 5 bullet points you see below are the proposals that have been put forth by the supermajority as of now. We've only met twice. We were expected to meet again hopefully in late October or August, I believe. And so right now, those are our current proposals. I'll let you all read through them, but they range from ending the ability to hold someone liable if they don't pay property tax to giving the legislator all control of how we move homestead exemptions. So there's a variety of proposals that's being put out there, but none of them have actually gained legs and moved so far. So education, you all. Something that you all should be aware of is that K through 8 will be banning cell phones. So any teenager, you may see some pushback about that, and they have a pilot program for high school students. So you will need to be prepared to make sure you let your young ones know that they're not going to be allowed to have cell phones. The school district still has to carve out some exemptions, such as if a child is a caretaker or they have health conditions. Those are for the school districts to decide what those exemptions will be. We passed numerous legislation trying to bring awareness to those who are on the spectrum. State Senator Mac Bernard passed a bill in regards to diabetes, which he will elaborate on, I'm sure. And we also require that every school has an AED machine in every single school here in the state of Florida. As you all remember, in 2023, we passed a law to change school start times. Fortunately, our own Representative Ann Gerwig passed a law to change it back. So school district start times should remain the same, and school districts will have all control of when their school starts. Business, if you look at Senate Bill 1080, I think this is probably an important bill for you all. Basically, it says that if you are submitting an application for variances or rezoning, the city or the body has to let me know within 5 days that you received it, 30 days to see if something is wrong with it, and 180 days to approve or deny it. I know here in the city of West Palm Beach, we have the resources to accomplish that. But if you look at some of our rural areas like Lafayette or Glades County that has only 13,000 people, that may stretch some of their resources. Last but not least, we'll talk about Senate Bill 1808. This was a very good law that was passed. Essentially, it says that if you go to any healthcare facility and you overpay, that healthcare facility is now required by law to pay me back for the money that I've paid. Should have been law years ago, but thankfully we passed it. And if you remember months ago when there was a little bit of uproar about there's going to be buildings on our state parks, our very own Representative Snyder passed a law to prohibit that from happening here in the state of Florida. And so that is my legislative update, and I'm honored and I'm proud to be joined here with my colleague from the upper chamber who will give you more details on what is going on in Tallahassee. So if you all are here, if you could give a round of applause for our State Senator, Mac Bernard.
We generally clap after they speak, just in case. We'll ask them both questions afterwards.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. The reason why he's saying the clap is because I was able to bring dollars to the city of West Palm Beach.
Oh,
so that's the reason
you'll
why
get
we're
a double
clapping.
clap then, yeah.
Thank you very much, Mayor James, President Lambert, Commissioner Ward, Warren, Peduzzi, and Fox. It's great to be here. As the representative said, we had a session that lasted 105 days, and I want to thank all the constituents of District 24. And as you can see, my district starts all the way in Palm Beach Gardens. It goes all the way down to the Boynton Beach line, but the heart of the district is in the city of West Palm Beach. In regards to the budget, the budget was really focused on, with everything that's going in Washington, D.C., what do we need to do to prepare for our rainy day funds and to make sure that we have more funds in our reserves, and also the Budget Stabilization Fund, which is to increase the amount of money that we put in for the rainy day fund. Make sure I can continue. The committees that I'm assigned to is the Ethics and Elections, that I'm the vice chair of that committee, the Agriculture Committee, the Appropriations Committee on Transportation, Tourism, and Economic Development, Criminal Justice, Finance and Tax, Fiscal Policy, Regulated Industries, and I'm in 2 joint administrative procedure committees in Tallahassee. Out of so many of the bills that passed, I had filed 13 of the bills, and 4 of the bills that were passed by the House were by me during this legislative session. However, the governor vetoed one of them, and so we ended up passing 3 of the bills during this session. And the bill that he vetoed, which is a parole bill, which amends the Florida the statutes that requires the Department of Corrections to provide the Florida Commission on Offender Review information on an inmate's vocational training, substance abuse treatment, and educational programs,
And so in that way, when they're modifying their presumptive release in the future, they can consider those. The governor vetoed that bill. Most likely, we're going to decide if we're going to run this bill again, but I believe that under this current administration, even if we pass it next year, which this bill was passed unanimously by both the House and the Senate, the governor probably will not sign this bill, so we'll probably end up passing this bill in a future administration. We passed Senate Bill 958, which is a type 1 diabetes with Representative Allison Tent from Tallahassee. And what this bill does, it requires the Department of Health, in collaboration with the school districts throughout the state, to develop information materials for the early detection of type 1 diabetes for parents and guardians of certain students. And so we believe that this will help the state in the future in regards to detecting type 1 diabetes. In regards to Senate Bill 976, which is court-appointed psychologists, this was the only family law bill that was passed during this session. And what it does is it seeks to disqualify court-appointed psychologists before filing any administrative complaints. And what this bill really is trying to do is making sure that as we're making decisions during family court proceedings, that we're making decisions that's in the best interest of the child. And the last bill that we passed with Representative Weinberger, which is the Jacob Rogers bill, which is Mr. Rogers, he was injured in an accident that took place in Gainesville, and the city of Gainesville and the Gainesville Regional Utility, they were against the bill, and they thought this bill was never going to be heard in Tallahassee. However, both Representative Weinberg and myself, this was the first year that this claim bill was filed, and we were able to provide Mr. Jacob Rogers $10.8 million for his injuries from the city of Gainesville. In regards to appropriations, we submitted over close to $20 million that was passed in the budget by both the House and the Senate. However, the governor vetoed about $5 million of those dollars, and so we ended up getting $15 million for the District 24. But out of the $15 million, over $9 million were allocated to projects within the city of West Palm Beach. And you have for PBAU, $2 million, that's a appropriations request with Representative John Snyder. With the West Palm Beach Fire Department, $254,000 with Representative Tendridge. The downtown West Palm Beach traffic signalizations upgrades, Phase 2, $1.5 million with Representative John Snyder. The YMCA of the Palm Beaches Community Center is $600,000. The Cox Science Center and Aquarium expansion is $1 million with Representative McFarland. Roosevelt Elementary School enhancements received $853,999. However, the governor did veto $21,000 that was allocated for that project, and that's because the governor was not happy that it came from the Speaker of the House sprinkle list, and since there was a fight between them, he vetoed about $21,000, but we're able to save about $853,000. And of course, for Fern Street crossing, we're able to receive over $3 million for Fern Street crossing. So for the city of West Palm Beach, we're able to receive over $9 million. Now, in regards to vetoes, it was about $1.5 million for the city of West Palm Beach. And those were the three projects, the digital twin for public safety that we ran with Representative Edmonds, and then the $21,000 from Roosevelt Elementary School, and also the Palm Beach County Australian Avenue project that we've worked on, Commissioner Ward. The governor vetoed that $742,000. So what we're hoping is we'll be able to try to run some of these appropriations in the future. But in regards to the appropriations, I believe that we worked really hard with our fellow representatives, and not only the representatives, but your lobbying team, the entire community that lobbied us in Tallahassee to make sure that we were able to bring these resources And Mayor, you came to Tallahassee, the administrator came to Tallahassee, and your city attorney met with me, and we made sure that the city of West Palm Beach would do well in appropriations, and that's what we're able to provide. In regards to my office, we're in Tallahassee, 216 Senate Office Building, and of course, we have our office right in the town of Mangonia Park. And so really going into next year, really the discussion will be about property taxes, and as you're making decisions, in regards to your budget, with your workshop tomorrow and in the future, this will consume us in Tallahassee during this next legislative session. So happy to be here and take any questions, and Representative Edmond also. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much. Let's give them both a round of applause, please. Thank you both for all that you do for us in Tallahassee. Senator Bernard, you really brought the bacon home, as they say, and so thank you so much, and all your work, Senator Edmonds. I would encourage or beseech both of you as you fight the good fight every year to protect the city's right of home rule. Every year. We fared pretty well this year, but there seem to be constant attacks on our rights to do what we think is best for our city. So that's just kind of a top of mind idea. And also on the property tax fight. Senator Evans, I know you're on that committee. And I guess the question is someone up there thinking about what it would do to municipal budgets if property taxes were eliminated? Most of the money we use goes for public safety in and of itself. So what are the alternative, or are there alternative sources of revenue for cities being discussed?
Thank you very much, Mayor. There will be some type of property tax that will be passed by both the House and the Senate and approved by the governor. And what's going to be important is that for the city to tell their story in Tallahassee and to, let the state know how physically responsible that the city is. And it's going to really require for the entire commission to go to Tallahassee to advocate on behalf of the city. And, as you have your team of lobbyists that represents the city, this will be the time for you to really engage them early, so in that way they are protecting the city of West Palm Beach interests. But in regards to property taxes, I know I support some form of property taxes, like for instance some of our seniors who live in these townhomes, condos that's been hit with some of these high HOA assessments. So we want to see, for me, I want to see what we can do to provide some relief to some of them. But it's just going to be how we're able to curtail the property tax package that will pass.
You care to add to that, Representative? Okay, thank you. Questions? Representative Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Warren. Okay, everybody's got questions. Okay, we'll start with you, Commissioner Ward.
Thank you guys so much, and for all you do to represent us up at Tallahassee. Tay, I know you were talking about House Bill 1105 with the charter conversion. Can you go into a little more detail? It seemed like it was charter to charter and the pro-business aspect of that.
Right. I believe you're talking about the job engine charter school.
Yeah.
Okay. Essentially, currently, right now, before the bill, if you as a city council wanted to approve to turn a public school into a charter school, you would vote. And then before this law, the parents and teachers will vote on it as well. After this law, teachers no longer have a vote. So it'll be you voting and then the parents of the school will vote to turn that public school into a job engine charter. And so that's what the law does.
Thank you.
Commissioner Warren.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Senator Bernard and Representative Edmonds, for everything that you do to fight for us in Tallahassee and for bringing back all of the things that you do for West Palm Beach. I was very happy to hear you both talk about the provisions that are being made for children in our schools that may have health issues like type 1 diabetes and may need the cell phone allowances. And I'm hoping that we see an uplift in our 504 plans for our students, because there's so many kids in our school that do have special needs. So I'm glad that this is shining a light on that, to be able to provide the resources and support that they need to be able to get the information that they need in school and continue to thrive. So thank you for that.
President Lambert.
Thank you. I also wanted to say thank you to both of you. That was extremely thorough and helpful to get this update. And I know we get it every year, but this just seemed extremely helpful. And I guess while I'm, always sad to see 1.5 million vetoed, the 9 million that we were able to bring home, and those projects are going to make a huge impact on our community. So thank you so much for continuing to fight. I also had questions related to property tax, but I think our mayor asked those questions. You all answered. If there's any other opportunities for us to advocate, for us to inform the residents of West Palm Beach to help advocate, please consider us partners in that, so that we can get the right information to them, and so that we can get our message up to Tallahassee. And then the third thing I just wanted to comment on was, I appreciate the efforts that are being made to help limit cell phone access to kids. And Representative Edmonds, it was interesting to hear you talk about, and I'm grateful that we're thinking about provisions for kids who might be caretakers. It just hurt my heart to think about these children that might be caretakers, and if there's other things that we could be doing to help alleviate that stress for them, so that they can focus on school. I appreciate those efforts. Thank you so much.
Commissioner. No, go ahead.
Mayor, President Lambert, the only thing is I can tell you in regards to cell phones, yesterday I cut a deal with my daughter, and so she asked me if she received certain grades and if I can help her out on this, so I'm struggling with this issue.
I'm betting on your daughter on that one. Commissioner Baduzzi.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, just like my colleague said, thank you for always considering the city of West Palm Beach and bringing the funding back to the city. We certainly appreciate that, for always supporting home rule. And I heard seems like some great bills that were passed, the AEDs in schools, wonderful. The diabetes funding, we really appreciate that. With regard to cell phones, I think it's a great idea, but at the same time, my kids went off to camp and they weren't allowed to have cell phones, and I snuck cell phones in their backpacks just for safety so I could track them. But, I think, though, that certainly addressing those issues, I know there are kids that are on their cell phones during instructional time, which is just not a good thing. So thank you for all of your efforts.
Commissioner Fox.
Thank you so much for being here, for giving us this update, for all that you've done. I was especially happy to see that the Fern Street crossing was included. I'm not sure how I missed that, but that is very exciting news. That is something that the city has been hoping for many, many years, so I'm excited to see that actually moving forward. I guess my question is about something that we didn't really touch upon here, but we discussed it a lot internally in the city this year, was the CRA bills, and luckily we kind of skated through, I guess, this year, and we still have our CRA going strong. But is there any insights as to what we might be able to expect in the next years? Is this something that is off the table, do you think, or is this something we should be considering for into the next year? Thanks.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Fox. In regards to the CRA bill, the chair in the Senate, the chair of the committee where the CRA bill would be assigned, he's the one who's running the bill to basically eliminate CRA. So as long as he's in the Senate, most likely he's going to continue to run the bill to eliminate the CRAs. But we do believe that we have enough firepower in the Senate to stop it, even if it passes that committee in the future. But, I just want to thank your CRA director, Christopher Rood, calling me during session to make sure that all of the people in Tallahassee know how it impact the city of West Palm Beach. So that was really important to the CRA executive director and their whole team. And lastly, Commissioner Fox, what would be great is for the city to really promote the funding that we've received from Tallahassee. You know, sometimes people will spend most of the time on the vetoed items, and I know I've been called by the newspaper to talk about the Australian Avenue project that was vetoed, but you know, there were other projects in the city, great projects that were funded, so it'll be great for us to continue to promote the projects that were funded, so in that way we can continue to get more dollars in Tallahassee. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. President.
Thank you. Commissioner Ward.
Since you brought up Australian again, so what is the plan? I mean, obviously that's a huge project, and so are you going to try to bring that again for request, or are we should we be working with the county for additional funds? What do you suggest on that route? Because that's a big number.
Yeah, this is an important item for Commissioner Bobby Powell, and so we're working with the county, and then of course we're going to go back to Tallahassee. We're going to speak to the governor's chief of staff to see what were the issues with this project. I spoke to him after some of these budget vetoes. He was like, hey, I had just come into the governor's office, and there were things that we didn't get a chance to work on. So what we're hoping is that we're able to speak to them, what are their concerns, so in that way we can get those fundings in the future. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments? Again, gentlemen, thank you so much for your advocacy on behalf of the city. We truly appreciate it, and we know we're in very good hands with each of you up in Tallahassee representing us. Thank you again. We will now turn to the consent calendar, items 7.1 through 7.6. Commissioners, any questions, comments on consent? 7.1 through 7.6. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of consent items 7.1 to 7.6.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We will now turn to item 8.1. Public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 5136-25, amending the Code of Ordinances at Chapter 86 to aid in parking enforcement of oversized vehicles. Mr. Fana.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Armando Fana, Assistant City Administrator. There have been no changes since the first reading.
Thank you very much. Any questions, comments on this item? Hearing none, I'll entertain a oh yes, Commissioner, President Lambert.
Thank you so much. I wasn't here on first reading, and I just wanted to say, Mayor, thank you to administration and to staff for working on this and, you know, understanding that there's constant changes in our neighborhoods and being responsive to our neighbors. And with that, I'd be happy to make a motion to approve ordinance number 5136-25.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5136-25, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances at Chapter 86, Traffic and Parking, Article 1, in general, Section 86-1, definitions to add new definitions, amending Article 4, stopping, standing, and parking, Section 86-229, to streamline the enforcement of parking violations involving certain vehicles within residential districts, and amending the penalty provision, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, a codification clause, and for other purposes.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We'll now go to the public hearing quasi-judicial portion of the meeting. So, Commissioners, I will need you to make your disclosures. And we will start with Commissioner Fox. Looks like she's ready.
As to this matter, item 8.1, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation. I have not made a site visit. I have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Commissioner Peduzzi.
Thank you. As to item 9.1, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications, not conducted an investigation, have not made a site visit, nor have I received any expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made a part of the record.
President Lambert.
Thank you. As to item 9.1, I have not had ex parte communications, not received written communications, not conducted an investigation, not made a site visit, and have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Commissioner Ward.
As to matter 9.1, I have not had ex parte communications, have not received written communications, have not conducted an investigation, have not made a site visit, have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
And Commissioner Warren.
Mayor, as to item 9.1, I have not had ex parte communications, not received written communications, not conducted an investigation, not made a site visit, and I have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, can you swear in all witnesses?
Would everyone wishing to speak on item 9.1 please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Item 9.1, public hearing of resolution number 141-25, a request by Brian Shegas of I Plan and Design LLC on behalf of Brady Flagler Management LLC to amend a previously approved Class A special use permit to allow for the construction of a 200-foot-long private dock with 2 boat lifts, where a total of 136 feet and 9 inches in length is currently permitted on a property located at 7405 South Flagler Drive within the single-family low-density residential zoning district. Mr. Shegas?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you very much. Brian Chekas, very pleased to be here for resolution number 141-25, seeking a Class A special use permit. My client purchased the property mid last year, 2024, Brady Flagler Management, and we're working with CTI, a local dock builder that does a lot of stuff in and around the county and the city. We're seeking a waiver similar to what we normal for the city, extension of a dock from Code Section 94-313A3I to allow an additional 63 plus feet of residential dock at that property address. The subject property is located just north of Suma Street, and it's located between 2 existing docks, one to the north, one to the south. Just a quick history of this site. It was constructed with a single-family home in 1965. In the middle of 2024, my client purchased the property. But prior to that, in early January 2024, the City Commission approved a resolution number 324-23, which allowed for a Class A special use permit, which approved a longer dock at this location. I guess the dock at the time, total length was 136 feet, and that'll put them out to about the same distance out as the docks adjacent to them. And as I'll show you, the docks adjacent to them either have a 24-foot lift or no lift because the water is pretty shallow in and around the Suma Beach area. So it was approved in the beginning of last year, but it was never constructed. To our north is a dock that has a 24-foot boat lift and some Sea-Doo docks as well. And to the south, similar dock with no lifts whatsoever on it. It's just too shallow for motor vehicle activity. We have the same situation that we've had with other docks. The underwater tells the story, and in this case, the bathymetrics are shallow in and around this area. I'll show you a photograph of that later. And essentially at 2.5, 3 feet of mean water depth, it doesn't get travel worthy or enough to support a standard 35-foot size boats that are ubiquitous in the south end of the city for the first 200 feet out into the water. You'll approve this a year ago. My client bought it, wants to get additional dock length to be able to handle a standard boat size. It's important to note we don't have seawall in front of our property. The first 40 feet of the dock will be out over land, and then the last 160 feet roughly goes over the water. And we've configured the boat lift in such a way that it minimizes the impacts visually on shore by having the boat lift and boat perpendicular to the shore, so facing the shore, not across the property width. It's just our bathymetrics show that it's very shallow up and near the shore, and it gets better as we get further out, gets into the greens and the yellows and more green as we get further out. Standard The existing dock that was approved last year by you all is in white, and you could see it kind of lines up with the dock to the north and to the south. To the north, 24-foot lift, but nothing larger. To the south, no lift. And we can just see how shallow it is out there at low tide. Everything's pretty high. And final configuration, really important to note that our final configuration, even with this larger lift at the end of the dock, we have plenty of room, elbow room from our neighbor to the south and especially to the north. The fairway between docks is enough to support boats on our lift and to the south if ever a boat lift ever comes about. Again, I showed this picture last time I was before you on a dock issue. These are the types of boats that are ubiquitous in the south end of the city. Standard, these are the standard lifts. There's nothing large here. There's no ocean-going yachts. This is just to support the same kind of craft that are operating now at the south end of the city. We are in compliance with all of the standards of code compliance, the general use standards, the specific use standards, and most importantly, the dock standards with the exception of the length. We're asking for a favor in length beyond 100 feet. There are a number of docks in and around us that are between 125 and 191 feet. Again, the underwater conditions dictate what you need, essentially. And as we've said before, as I've said before, this really isn't precedent setting because truly it's a case-by-case basis based on what's happening with the bathymetrics. 200 feet is the magic number in this location, and we have all of our FDEP and ACOE permits for this specific dock configuration. I showed this picture to you all, and the last time I was here, this is the 2009 aerial that shows how much sedimentation exists in the Suma Beach area. It's very shallow, it's very compacted because of, most likely because of the geometrics of the land south of us. There's a wall that kicks out into the intercoastal, and that swirls up a lot of currents, and those currents kick the sand up into the Suma Beach area. With that, your planning board your staff found this to be consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and the city's LDRs. Your planning board in March unanimously recommended approval of it, and your planning staff are recommending approval of this Class A special use permit with 2 conditions. We're in agreement with those conditions, no advertising, and if we ever make any major modifications, we'll come back to the city. So it's a no-brainer. We're also seeking this commission's approval of the request, and with that, I'm able to answer any questions you might have or respond to any comments that might come from the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant before we hear from staff? Comments? Okay, we can hear from staff at this time, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Luis Dini, Senior Planner, City of West Palm Beach. The applicant did a very adequate presentation, therefore I'm going to glance it over my slides. The property is located within a single-family low-density SF7 zoning district. The subject property has approximately 0.4 acres in total. The current use is single-family, and the surrounding uses are single-family as well. So again, this is the site plan. The applicant already went over this. So this is a very good slide to show what happens around the area. So this is a dock comparison to other docks within the vicinity. As you can see there at the south area, there's one dock with 193-foot length. As you can see, the configuration of the beach area, the shoreline it is very restricted because the beach area is very wide. Therefore, the applicant is required to extend beyond in order to accommodate the dock to meet the depth required for the 2 boats to be docked in that area. Therefore, that's the requirement. So they're requesting that extension to accommodate those boat lifts and the future boats that they're proposing to accommodate there in the area. Staff approves, subject to the conditions. Staff has no objections to it. 2 conditions are implied to this application. Therefore, we're open for questions, comments, concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions, comments to staff? President Lambert?
Thank you. Just 2 questions. If you don't mind going back to the slide with the photo. The first question, and I just want to make sure I understood this correctly from agenda review, and hear what you're saying is that as we move south on Suma Beach, that the beach land gets wider, and so that also adds to the necessity for this to go longer. And then I had asked about the 105-foot dock that's just to the south. At the time, you mentioned that that dock has not requested any additional length for boats, and so that's the reason why that dock is much shorter?
Thanks for the question, President Commissioner. Yes, ma'am. That's the reason that the applicant's requesting that extension.
Okay, and should that homeowner in the future request an extension, does this prohibit that in any way? Or I know that Mr. Changas mentioned this doesn't set a precedent, but I just want to make sure that we're not inhibiting any other neighbor's ability to make a request in the future as well.
As the applicant has the ability to request that extension, all the other applicants or the other homeowners has the same ability to request that extension. They're not going to be prohibited from request that extension, and we're going to, and then if that's the case, we will do diligently review their request and make sure that they're compliant with the city's ZLDR.
Angela Van, Planning and Zoning Administrator. Commissioner, all docks, just docks in the middle 1/3, so our docks are required to be built in the middle 1/3, so the neighbors can also build a dock in the middle 1/3.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And then my follow-up, Mayor?
Yes.
Was just, also at the time of agenda review, I asked if there was any feedback from the community from our public notice of this, and just checking from agenda review to now if there's been any additional comments.
There has been no comments, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments, Commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move for approval of resolution number 141-25 for a Class A special use permit to amend a previously approved Class A special use permit to allow for the construction of a 200-foot-long private dock with 2 boat lifts at 7405 South Flagler Drive. This motion is based upon the application submitted, the staff report, factual testimony, the recommendation of the planning board, the findings that the request complies with the comprehensive plan, and the standards in section 94-36E, 3, 4, and 5, sections 94-313A, 3, and 4, and sections 94-273A2, and the city's zoning and land development regulations.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will now turn to comments from the public. We have a few cards. Danielle Underwood and Michael Cleveland. Danielle Underwood.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here again, once again. I sent you all an email, and I received one response that they recognized that they saw my email, so thank you, Ms. Warren. I appreciate that. I'm here of the voice of many code enforcement officers who are scared to voice their concerns due to retaliation. They're here for the collective demand for immediate and decisive action regarding the utterly unacceptable operational environment and leadership within the Code Department, stemming from the Housing and Community Development Department. Since the new director's oversight began, they have witnessed a blatant and deeply disturbing pattern of administrative actions that are not only retaliatory, but indicative of severe mismanagement, fostering a toxic work environment that has profoundly negative impacts on the department's efficiency and the employees' well-being. The situation is intolerable, and a fundamental change is needed. One longstanding employee with 25 years of dedicated service was forced to abruptly retire. Another was recently hired. He was a retired police officer. Despite his valuable professional background, he lasted a mere 2 months before abruptly quitting. The current leadership approach is not merely fostering, but actively cultivating an environment where employees are effectively coerced into expressing dissatisfaction or resistant indirectly. They're living in constant fear of reprisal, of losing their livelihood if they dare to voice their legitimate concerns. It's a direct assault on open communication and employee rights. The culture of rigid, often literal adherence to ill-conceived directives with a complete disregard for practical implications or common sense is intentionally resulting in a negative outcome such as inexcusable delays and gross efficiencies within the code department. Code enforcement officers who have dedicated years of their lives in this department are leaving or transferring out. This is a direct loss of institutional knowledge and dedication. Furthermore, the environment is actively being sabotaged. The successful integration and performance of new hires who are quickly observing this dysfunctional and hostile dynamic and consequently fleeing the department at an alarming and unsustainable rate. This is vicious, unproductive, and a costly cycle that serves no one but those that are creating the chaos. The prevailing environment has demonstrated and severely impacted the mental, emotional, and physical well-being and the low morale in the Code Enforcement Department. They are demanding that you initiate an immediate, comprehensive, and impartial investigation into the department's operational practices, leadership style, and the catastrophic impact on the employees' morale and retention. Addressing these critical issues is not a suggestion, it's an absolute necessity to restore the productivity, rebuild trust, and salvage a healthy work environment within the Housing and Community Development Department, Subcode Department. The current trajectory is unsustainable and unacceptable. We are hoping that you guys will look into this and that you will do something.
Thank you very much. Michael Cleveland.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, staff, audience. Desperately over the last 2.5, maybe 3 years, I've tried to settle matters pertaining to my family property, both my late mother's and my late grandmother's property that has to deal with liens. Madam Administrator, Madam Attorney, and Mayor, I'd like to get that settled within the next 3 months, if possible. Otherwise, I have to resort to something else. Excuse me. Has anyone in here not had the pleasure of having iguanas either inside or outside your house on the property? Once again, I bring that before you. I was sitting at the table the other day. I could have sworn I heard a iguana ask for some salad. But seriously, when you think of 20 to 70 eggs that each individual female lays twice a year, 100 eggs could bring a lot of iguanas. I'm not sure what you can do about it, if there's anything you want to do about it, but something needs to be done about it. They are everywhere. Taxes. I'm glad I was here this evening to hear the, somewhere or another, in no disrespect to the city, government, the way you function, but there's a waste of money somewhere. I've said here a number of times that salaries paid are not particularly salaries earned, particularly when I drive around the street and I see people underneath the tree from 1:30 waiting until 3:30 to get to the barn. That's very unfair. Something needs to be done. Every year you guys send to the county for X amount of dollars, 2 line items for X amount of dollars. Somewhere there's a waste. It's gotta be, somewhere. Enjoy your evening, be safe.
Thank you very much. Those are all the cards. Do we have anything coming over the portal? Any comment coming over the portal? Okay, very good. We'll now turn to comments from the dais. We'll begin with you, President Lambert.
Thank you. I know that Representative Edmonds mentioned this, but I also wanted to pay my respects and give condolences to our Florida Representative Joe Casello's family. We lost a tremendous leader in our Florida legislature this past week. He's a respected public servant who served 33 years as a firefighter and 4 consecutive terms in the Florida House, and he will be missed. And I know that reading some articles about his last requests, and he just wants people to continue working and doing the good civil public service work that he lived for. And so with that, I will continue, and I just want to make sure that the residents of the South End know that we have been working on the South Flagler seawall. that there have been a number of areas that were damaged, and that we've been working on nearly 20 of those locations and fixing them, as well as a schedule for working on the next fiscal year between Plymouth Road and Murray Road, and making sure that we're keeping all of this area safe and clean, as well as a comprehensive study for the entire seawall to be worked on in the future for a larger scale, long-term resolution of work. And then finally, wanted to mention, and a reminder, I know many notices have gone out, that this Wednesday, July 23rd, that the city is hosting 2 budget workshops. One is virtual at 1 p.m., and the other is in person here at City Hall at 6 p.m. this Wednesday. Thank you.
Commissioner Ward.
Thank you very much, and thank you, President Lambert, because now I don't have to mention the budget workshops, but I hope everyone can attend one or the other. I wanted to comment on an issue that came up with my Northwood merchants, and get a sense from administration and my colleagues what they think about this right now. And I think that advertising went out. We've communicated as much as we could prior to, and we're very excited about all the development. The North End for a very long time was screaming for development, and we tried letting our business owners know that it was coming, and now that it's here, they have been some issues and hiccups because of all of the surrounding development, and then the closure of Broadway for such an extended period of time. And I've gotten a request from multiple business owners, whether there's a program, an economic, if we review something, and if there's a hardship with the business, that if we have a program to provide funds, and we don't. And frankly, I think that would be way too tricky to try to figure out, because if you're losing funds, and how does our department react? But one of my merchants asked if we could do a loan program or work with a lender to try to figure out a loan program like we did during COVID. And I wanted to bring that up to you. I already sent an email to Administrator Johnson on it, because they obviously are hurting. And if we are continuing to develop within the city, what area is next for the development, and road closures, and et cetera. Some of these businesses have been around for a very long time. Some of these business owners I never hear from, that are struggling and contemplating having to shut their doors before the benefit of being first in North End. I think we've been talking about this for a very long time, is bear with us, and we're gonna have more density and more people within your stores, and they're excited about that, but right now they're worried about even making it that far for when that day finally comes. So I wanted to bring that up and have further discussion on it, because it could potentially happen in other districts down the road when there is development. And then the next comment is, and I recognize that we've received comments on issues with the code department and people that were fired and terminated, and I know that I've reached out internally and gotten great responses from internally on what has gone on, and I knew that it was coming because obviously we're up to speed, but I just want to know if we're going to get some sort of workshop on the changes now that they've been implemented. The directors had some time to digest and come up with a plan. When is the rest of the commission going to be able to be presented with, hey, this is what we're doing now? And because I do get questions from residents, and it's hard to just read an email and read a breakdown of everything versus being presented with the information and be able to have a conversation with my colleagues about that, so that we know how to respond to the residents.
If you want a workshop on what we're doing with
Well, code is completely shifted over from police to HCD. So my residents, every time that we went to a police meeting, which we used to have monthly and now we haven't been having them, went over procedures of what they were doing, how their responses were, et cetera. Now I understand that there's a difference. We have different levels, and I've talked with Jennifer Ferriel about the changes that she had proposed. I don't know what the department looks like now. Who is really running it? Have we changed from officers to a different system of who is responding to whom? What are the different procedures now? I think, again, it was nice to get that update on some of the changes that have been made, but given such a big change from being under the police department back to HCD, I would just hope for a follow-up with all of us to be able to have a conversation about it, and understand all the changes that have come into play.
It's a personnel matter, so we won't be having a public workshop. If you have any questions, you can certainly continue to direct them to the city administrator, who will advise you of what the current status is. But we're not going to have a general conversation among commissioners about personnel matters.
This is,
That falls within my jurisdiction as a strong mayor of the city. So any questions you have about departments or organizational departments, direct them to the city administrator and she'll give you a response.
Maybe I'm being confusing. I'm not talking about personnel matters. I'm talking about the entire department as a whole. We do approve the budget. We approve personnels as far as what money is getting pushed over to different departments, I thought. And so in that regard, given the big shift from underneath the police and over to a different department, that the commission as a whole who continues to approve agenda items would be filled in to a different level. Again, it's different just being told information in an email versus having workshops. But I could be just on my own.
The department falls personnel. The organization, the organizational chart is presented to you, and that's those decisions are made at the administrative executive level. As to what those look like, you could certainly get advised, get reports, get answers to questions, but I'm not sure there's a need for a conversation because that implies a two-way interaction, and this is not a two-way issue. It is a decision of my administration as to what those departments look like, and it will stay that way. Again, you can get answers to any questions that you may have. Commissioner Peduzzi.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think maybe some of the confusion comes from, not to belabor this point, but from the fact that I thought initially when it was transferred to police, it was brought to us for our consideration. I thought that at some level, I thought that we weighed in on it being moved to the police department, and if I remember correctly, we unanimously agreed or approved it. But maybe I'm mistaken, but I do remember it being presented to us at a commission meeting.
You may have been reported on, but no, you didn't approve it. That was my decision as the mayor of the city. It didn't require commission approval, and it won't require commission approval.
Yeah, maybe it was some budgetary or funding. I don't know what it was, but I do remember the police chief talking about, bringing it under and the usefulness of having it under code enforcement, but I don't remember exactly the nature of it.
And again, if you have questions, concerns about code enforcement in any department, direct them to the city administrator, and she will provide you the information, the answers to your questions. But I'm not asking for input from you as to how I organize the departments. We'll report to you on what it looks like. We try to do the best we can, but I'm not asking for permission.
Understood, Mayor. I want to join my colleagues also in expressing my condolences to the family of Representative Joe Casello. Unfortunately, I never had the pleasure of getting to know him personally, but everything I've read about him seems that he was a stellar human being who worked with both sides of the aisle to get things done, and he will certainly be missed. I do want to address those residents in the northern portion of my district, particularly along the North Lake Boulevard corridor. CSX, as everyone knows, is intending a full and complete closure of North Lake Boulevard at the B line within our city. This closure is expected to take place August 1st through the 8th. I and other elected officials have been working with CSX and with the other development that's going on in that area of trying to mitigate some of the inconvenience that will occur without having that access at Beeline and North Lake. It is a total closure with the exception of emergency vehicles. The original plan did not contemplate access for emergency vehicles, and the county mayor, Maria Marino, and I successfully argued that there must be 24/7 access for emergency vehicles, and they eventually acquiesced and are allowing our emergency vehicles to have access. But I would just ask everyone who lives west of the tracks on North Lake that you're going to have to find alternative routes, that you're not going to be able to get through. Please don't even try to drive east on North Lake Boulevard from August 1st through the 8th. I believe they'll be closing the access anyway, probably at Ibis Boulevard, maybe at the entrance to Grassy Waters, and turning vehicle traffic around. We ask for everyone's patience. This is done. It is an emergency situation. They tell me that the tracks are compromised and that they are doing this at this time to avoid a potential derailment situation. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Warren.
Thank you, Mayor. I join my colleagues in expressing my condolences to Representative Costello and his family. And I know that he was, I didn't have the pleasure of knowing him very well either, Commissioner Peduzzi, but I've heard tremendous things about him and his selfless service and his years as a firefighter. I want to say that they said he served more than 33 years in Massachusetts as a firefighter before becoming involved here in Florida. His service to our community touched many lives and will be forever appreciated. And I'd like to, I had a wonderful trip to Memphis this past week where I had the opportunity to celebrate the wedding of Oceana Jillian, who is an amazing, bright, young law student in Memphis, Tennessee. She's been a tremendous advocate and is doing great things. And to my cousin, Justin Pearson, who is the second youngest person ever elected to the House of Representatives in Tennessee, who some may know as one of the Tennessee Three, who is also a tremendous advocate and fearless fighter and stands up for people in situations and policies that impact lives in an amazing and positive way. I'm so moved and inspired by how fearless they are, and I'm looking forward to wonderful things as they begin their life together. So it's very interesting to see where we're acknowledging a life of service that has come to an end and the beginning of a young couple as they embark on their life together, also serving the community. And it just reminds us that each day is very, very precious. And I also want to say that if you are ever in a situation where you feel unsafe, exercise caution and precautions and do the things that are necessary to help reduce your exposure to unsafe situations, and trust your instincts and your intuition. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Fox.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm very excited that the official grand opening of the Styx Promenade will be next Friday, August 1st, between 6 and 9 p.m. This is a project that we have all been instrumental in moving forward. These are 6 minority-owned businesses, and they all bring a very unique voice to the neighborhood, and it's just adding to all the revival that we've been working on, and it's very exciting that these businesses are finally open, and I hope that we will all be able to join and celebrate them. And just in case anyone watching this wants to know what the businesses are, Camille's Flowers and Gifts, they offer floral arrangements and gifts. Wild Rose Wine and Daiquiri Bar, a vibrant local wine bar. Eaton Cake, a cozy spot for fresh, flavorful cuisine, and of course, cupcakes. A Better Way Home Care, meeting essential healthcare needs in the community. Rohi's Readery, a social justice-driven children's bookstore and learning center, and Serene Beauty Suite, a salon space for wellness and self-care. So hopefully, if people are not able to make it to the grand opening August 1st, they can visit soon and often because all of the businesses are currently open. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. And again, let me piggyback on what you just said, Commissioner Fox, about the grand opening of the Styx Promenade this Friday. It will be located at, not this Friday, it's next Friday. Styx Promenade is a powerful tribute to the history, culture, and entrepreneurship of our historic Northwest community. It's a $2.6 million project which honors the legacy of the original Sticks community with beautifully restored and award-winning shotgun-style structures that now house 6 minority-owned small businesses. The celebration will be at 634 7th Street from 6 to 9, with a ribbon cutting at 6:30 as we reconnect with our past and celebrate a vibrant, thriving future for the Northwest. I'm proud to share that our Clean Streets Task Force has earned national recognition with the 2024 Keep America Beautiful Innovation Award. Since its launch in 2021, this task force has made a measurable difference in improving the safety, cleanliness, and appearance of our city by removing over 265,000 pounds of illegal dumping, tagging more than 1,000 abandoned vehicles with an 85% compliance rate, engaging 2,600 volunteers, and collecting over 244,000 pounds of litter. The award is a testament to the dedication of our staff, volunteers, and residents who share our commitment to keeping West Palm Beach beautiful. Thank you to everyone who's contributed to this effort. I encourage residents to continue getting involved and using WPB Key to report issues and help us maintain our beautiful city. As has already been mentioned, our upcoming community budget meeting is this Wednesday, July 23rd. Don't miss this chance to understand how your city's budget works, from the process and property values to tax revenue, millage rates, and highlights of the proposed 2025-2026 budget. There'll be 2 sessions that day, one at 1 p.m. via Zoom and another in person at 6 p.m. here in the City Commission chambers. Your voice matters, and we encourage all residents to join us and stay informed. You can get the Zoom connection information off of our website. So let's make sure we have that information there so people can connect by Zoom if they so choose. Also want to take a moment to share the city's vision for a reimagined LGBTQ plus monument at Serenity Park, which will be a testament to our ongoing commitment to honoring and uplifting the LGBTQ plus community. As you all know, recent FDOT regulations required us to remove the rainbow crosswalk at Spruce Avenue and Northwood Road, which is our dedication to celebrating, but our dedication to celebrating this community remains steadfast. The relocated monument at Serenity Park will use the original historic colored LGBTQ plus flag bricks as a centerpiece. It will include enhanced landscaping and improved lighting, providing an inviting space for all. This project reflects our values and ensures that the LGBTQ plus community's contributions to the fabric of West Palm Beach are honored for years to come. Details on the timeline for the relocation and redesign will be shared soon. So that concludes my remarks for tonight. Good night. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the great city of West Palm Beach. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Yes. What? No, you already had your time. Okay, what?
I just Commissioner Fox and Administrator Johnson for their 2025 Amplifier Award honoree recognition.
For the what?
Their 2025 Amplifier Award honoree recognition.
Oh.
They are amplifiers.
And congratulations to Commissioner Warren as well.
Congratulations for your Amplifier Awards. I didn't know that. If you get something to us, we can get something out on a more formal basis. But thank you for adding that. All right, now this meeting is adjourned.